Okay, everybody, we have got a lot going on right now. Not only do we have running dogs going hysterical around the backyard, we actually have some progress on some of the stuff that we've done around the pool. Now, our pool looks really, really bad right now because we have so much dirt and stuff in the pool that it's having a hard time filtering that out. And we've had some pop-ups and stuff in the bottom of the pool come out, so the water isn't really turning around, so it's not chlorinating well, number one, but it's also not filtering very well. So we have a lot of sediment and a lot of garbage in the bottom of the pool. Makes the pool look really bad. It's probably not as bad as it looks. You just see this dirt sludge on the bottom of the pool, but it actually makes it look like it's green. And the water, when it's not, when you look at it in certain spots, it doesn't look green at all. So I think that's just the bottom of the pool that makes it look that way. Anyway, I'm gonna flip this thing around so I can show you what we got going on, and then I'm gonna start getting into probably a little bit more of that, and I can show you how it's done. Anyway, here we go. If you remember, all of the pool coping, the 12 by 24 inch pieces, which are about this size right here, that's just had the corners cut off of it so it fits better. What we've done is we've started wet cutting these, and we even went all the way around that rock right there. So there's a tiny little gap right there that we're going to fill with some colored mortar. So then we've done a wet cut all the way around, and we have about one and a quarter to maybe 1.5 inch overlap right here. So this right here is about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches depending on the curve. And then these things are all super loose right now because we still have a lot of tile work on the pool. So we started pulling out all of this stuff right here. So this is nothing but pebble tech that goes into the pool, and we were told that a long time ago they should have never done this to the pool. And what they did was they used the pebble tech from in the pool, and they came all the way out into with no water covering it. And when you did that, supposedly it really deteriorated this stuff, and it started to crack really bad. And you can see that corner over there is a direct result, and some of the cracking over there. So that's all going to be pulled out. So what we've got is Shannon picked out the pool tile, and this right now is all the way around the pool from rock to rock is a 6x6 tile, and she has picked out a new tile. Now we have about 100, maybe 95 or something like that circumference feet around this pool. So we've got 6-inch tile, which means we've got probably 180 or so tiles that we need to do if we bought 6x6. But Shannon didn't want 6x6. She got 3x6. So now I'm going to be able to put new tile in the pool, the entire circumference, waterline tile, 3 inches at a time, which is now just doubled the amount of tile that we're going to pull out. So we're going to probably, as soon as the tile comes in, we're going to drain the pool, clean it. We're going to put a saw cut with a diamond blade at the base of the tile all the way around. That way when we chip the tile out, it won't take the inside pebble tech out with the tile. So that's going to be the kind of the method of the madness. I'm not even going to fill this thing anymore. I've got the autofill completely turned off just because I don't feel like spending the money to put water in the pool that we're then going to be pumping right back out when we clean it and finish up this. So that's what we got. We're going to go ahead and get some more cutting done. I'm hoping that we can get probably at least half this done before the tile shows up for the water line. It's going to be really cool here real soon. It's kind of nasty weather today. I don't know that I'm going to be doing a whole lot of cutting just because it's supposed to rain, and I don't want to get stuck in the rain cutting when I have to take my saw and bring it in out of the rain. So I may or may not cut right now. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a good time watching the progress. We're going to get started on some more. I'm sorry I did a little bit off camera just to kind of get started, and I just didn't turn the camera on. So I'm gonna record the rest of this so we can kind of see what's going on, and you can see the progress. And it's actually, I wouldn't say it's a slow process, but it's also not a quick process when we're doing this stuff. So this stuff is heavy. It's it's heavy enough that when you put it on the saw and you saw cut it, it doesn't move around. So I would say that each one of those is probably about 20 pounds. So when it sits on the saw, we don't have to clamp it down, and it's a pretty easy cut. The problem is that you have to cut kind of slow, because we're cutting with you know, a wet diamond blade, and when you do that, it causes this sludge, this slime that comes out, and it turns the what would be powder from the cut into this sticky, nasty white sludge. And well, here's some of it right here. And when it dries, it looks like that. So it is, yeah, this stuff is, it's powdery until it gets wet, and then it turns into this nastiness. Anyway, and then it hardens up on you again. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to cutting, and we'll see what we can do. Wish me luck. See ya. All right, hey, I was just talking about that sludge that comes out of that saw, and it's literally just like paste. It's toothpaste, and that's what turns the stone into this paste. So it literally feels like toothpaste in my hands. So I'm able to cut super sharp with a wet saw, with a diamond blade. I'm able to cut this stuff super precise, and that's how I'm going to get all these stones to fit really close together and make them look like there's almost no gap. You probably won't even be able to stick a piece of paper between some of these stones when we're finished with them. So that's what we got. Let's see how she fits. All right, we are poolside. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of explain what it is I'm doing, how I'm doing this. So we are trying to follow the curve of the pool, both inside and outside curves, because this thing is shaped like an amoeba. I don't know why we built it this way. I think we built it 17 years ago or something like that. And it's a tough curve, because there's just, I think it's easier for pool companies to build this way because they don't have to be so precise. So they really pushed these pools back then. Just make it whatever free-form shape. It looks like an amoeba from the sky. So we got to follow this curve, and in order to do that, you got to kind of section out the lengths of the stones. And so what I've got going on here is, I know that I want to go probably about 7 inches, so maybe to right about there from this stone. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to keep it no more than about an inch to an inch and a quarter to maybe an inch and a half away from this. So this length right here, this overlap is only about an inch and a quarter, no more than an inch and a half, all the way around the pool is what I'm trying to do. And in order to do that, you need to go with shorter sections every once in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and work with a 7-inch piece from this line right here up against the stone to here. So this piece is only going to be this big, and then it'll continue from here on a new piece. It'll also be kind of short because we're trying to conform to this curve. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm gonna cut the 7-inch piece real quick, and then I'm gonna come on back and I'm gonna show you how we figure out the cuts on both stones to get those to match up perfectly. Stay tuned. Okay, so here's where the fun begins, because I have my 7-inch piece cut right here. I hope you can see that. Let's see here, yeah, right there. So anyway, what we are going to do is we are going to take our little measurement little angle here. I'm gonna clean it off so we can see the numbers, and I am going to figure out how much I need to cut off of both of these stones to get these things to sit perfectly, but also to keep this overlap right here, which I have set to about an inch, no more than an inch, and I'm about 1.25 inches right now, which is what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this back gap right here between these two stones. So right now we are sitting at 1/2 inch between these two stones, which means I need to take the equivalent of this off in the front. So I need to take the equivalent off up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, this is a 1/2 inch gap, so I'm going to take 1/4 inch off of each stone to the front. And there's my 1/4 inch on that one right there. And then I'm going to draw my line back to this back corner right here on each one of these stones. So that's going to give me an angled cut. And I will show you what that angled cut looks like here in just a second. 1/4 inch on that one, and 1/4 inch on that one. So now when you look at these and you see what we've done, we have now cut, we're going to be able to cut a 1/4 inch off this one and this one, but we're going to meet those cuts on these two corners right here, so no more material is going to come off here. So let's see how this works out. Let's see if this works. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here so we can see what's going on. Here's our first piece, which is the big one. And what I do is I'm just going to line these up, and I put the saw blade right on top of that pencil line, and then I just move that saw blade around until I have, nope, gotta go back this way a little bit. Nope, gotta keep going. Still too much. And all you do is just move this around until you are spot on that pencil line. Nope, now I'm too much. I'm gonna come back just a little bit. And it is so easy to be off, you know, 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. So you just gotta work that blade until you're perfectly happy with what you got. And once you move this thing around, you realize that you're pretty darn close. Then it's time to cut. So here we go. I just got my little spray bottle here full of pool water. Yeah, I'm just gonna spray this blade as it goes. This is, all right. I need to also say this is not the best saw to be using. So what I've got is my compound miter saw. It's a Craftsman. It's a really, really nice saw. I put a diamond blade on this thing. It's a 10-inch blade. It's a super, super nice saw. Really, really strong motor. And what I'm able to do with this thing is get really, really nice cuts. Only if it's wet, but this is not a wet saw. This is a dry saw. It's basically made for wood. So I'm putting it through the ringer and I'm testing the heck out of this Craftsman. But it is done so well right now, and I think this is gonna be the saw I'm gonna be able to use for this entire build. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back down, and we're gonna see how this cut comes out. Hopefully you guys can see something with all the spray that's getting ready to come. you can see how thin that is right there. That's really, really thin. That's probably a 1/16 of an inch down here at the bottom. So when you cut these things wet, you can really get some nice cuts. Really, really nice cuts. And they're super sharp, they're super precise. This one here, I'm gonna probably need to clean that up just a little bit on the edge. Let me do that real quick. Let's see, right out there, I can almost, if I can feel it a little bit. Oh yeah, that worked out well. Let's see what we got. Put this thing down here, see what we can do here. And then I'm gonna cut the second piece. And then once the second one gets cut, then we'll see how good that, that line was. Put this camera down for a second. Alright, let's cut this one now. Let's see what we can do here. Again, we're gonna have to move this blade around here. Now we gotta go to the other side of 0. Cut the other direction. I got toothpaste all over my hands. Alright, here we go. I am out of water. Need more water, so I'm gonna just get more out of the pool. This is free water right now. All right, here we go. Sorry for that pause. Let's get back in this thing. Don't want to cut dry, that's for sure. You cut dry, you don't get a good cut. So here we go. Darn it, that stone just did not have that set completely. Let's see, now that was not set right. Now, I'm gonna have to restart that cut here, I think. Let's restart that cut. I did not have my stone completely in the back. Alright, so I just lost another, maybe 1/4 inch of material there, which is not that big a deal. Let's see how this thing fits. Not a big deal. 1/4 inch off this entire thing isn't too terrible. Let's see how this thing fits now. Okay. Put a little rock under this thing. Hold it up. I'm not 100% happy with this other cut, but let's see what we got here. No. Okay, so what we've got, when we close this gap a little bit, it's gonna close up a little bit right here, This back edge looks really nice back here. This one I'm gonna have to clean up this stone right here. This cut is really nice. This one I think is just a little bit off, and then we have our gap. Now we've got our overlap, about 1.25 inches or so. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna cut this one again, and we're gonna see what happens with that cut, and I'm gonna come right back and see what we come up with. Okay, so I recut that bigger stone on the right, and here is what we got. So now you can see our gap, and these are obviously not mortared in, but here's our gap right here, and it looks really, really clean. You know, obviously these things aren't mortared in super tight, so they're just sitting on little rocks right here just to keep them propped up, and it looks really, really nice. I'm really happy with that result, and we're just gonna keep rocking and rolling. We're just gonna work ourselves all the way around as far as we can go today before it starts raining on us. Hopefully it doesn't. The clouds are coming in. Okay, so yesterday we worked super long, maybe, I wouldn't say too terribly long, but long enough to where my hands were hurting and my upper body was kind of hurting from dragging all these stones around. And I was up and down, you're squatting, you're up, you're cutting, you're back down to squat. So it gets a little tiring. So I'm doing about 3 or so hours at a time. So yesterday I was able to get probably from where we left off another maybe 20 feet or so around the pool. So check this out. We are all the way down to the other side of the pool, and we're getting ready to hit that rock right there. We're going to be able to cut around that just like we did over here on that rock right there. So we are looking really, really good here on progress. I'm pretty happy with the way it's coming out. The cuts are super tight because we're cutting wet, and I don't know, we're just going to keep going with it, and I'm going to try to get done with those two right there. That's going to be probably 2 more stones after the one, and then we've got the backside we're not going to be able to do today because we have to take off all the running, or all the pebble tech that comes out of the pool. We have to be able to chip all that out, and then we're going to put pool line water tile on, and that should be here on Tuesday. So like I said before, the game plan is to drain the pool, clean it, chip out all the tile, the water line tile, and in the meantime I'm going to have to get all these coping stones pulled up and numbered and stacked off to the side, because I definitely don't want to chip any of these things or mess them up. So we're going to go ahead and finish these 2 or 3 stones here, and then we're going to be probably done for the day, just because we've got so many other things we have to do before we do any more coping stones. So that's kind of where we are. Anyway, let's get to it. So it's supposed to be 70 something degrees today. I'm trying to get as much of this stuff done before the Arizona terrible summer gets here, because I don't want to be doing this in the summer. That would be horrible. So anyway, we're going to try to get as much of this done as possible, and as you can see, we've got a lot to go. We got a lot to do here. So stay with me here, and we're going to try to get this thing done. Right about there. That was quick. All right, I have a dog that chases shadows right here, so he doesn't stop. If anybody has a Malinois and understands what I am going through, put a message. Go ahead and comment me and tell me how your Malinois is a crackhead like mine. Right there, he drools and he licks the walls, and he chases shadows and he chases anything shiny, because he's a working dog, aren't you? Come here. Come here. Hey, what's up? What's up? All right, and there's my other one. That guy doesn't know what to do sometimes. He just says, oh, I'm just gonna run around and get stuff in my mouth and chase stuff, bother the other dog, and take naps. This one here wants to work. He's a working dog, aren't you? All right, so now we have got one more to go. Now this is gonna be the tough one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably going to draw a line right here on this. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna have to cut this angle on this piece of stone before I cut this curve, and I'm probably gonna wanna take out some of this mortar that holds the side of this rock in, but it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna, I think that's actually old concrete from when they poured this original pad. So I'm gonna chip all this out probably before I even get started. So let's do that now. I'm gonna use my chisel and my little hammer right here. This ought to be fun. Let's see if I can get this to come out. Oh wow, look at that. You can get something in your eyes there, buddy. Go on. I really advise anybody who's going to do this, get one of these things with the hand guard on it. I've smacked my hand a few times with a hammer, with a chisel that didn't have that on there, and boy, I bought this and now I don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about it anymore. I think this is going to make it look a lot nicer in the end. Good finished product here. And that won't do anything to that rock being held up with that. Give me a nicer finished look. Let me try to get some of that out. All right, I think that's about all I'm gonna do here. So let's get one more piece. Let's see here. Here's one that I can use because I'll be cutting most of this out around that rock. That'll look nice. This is where it gets tiring. Just walking these 30-pound rocks back and forth. Okay. Now I have figured out this. I gotta figure out this cut first, and I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna do that. If I pulled, well, how am I gonna do this? Unless I took this, flipped it over, took this one. This is the side I gotta cut. Let me figure out how I'm gonna do this. If I took this on here and I did this, nope, that's not gonna work because I haven't cut that angle yet. How am I gonna do this? How are we gonna do this? If I were to go ahead and put a small piece in here, if I made that two pieces, then I could cut this one first and then figure out the cuts between these two. That might work better. All right, here's the conundrum. The conundrum. Well, okay. Game plan. We have got a fun little tool right over here. Right there. Now this is going to give me kind of the contour of that rock. Now this is only 10 inches wide, so it's not going to give me the perfect contour because my stones are 12 inches wide, but it's going to get me close. So if I were to have a 1.5 inch overlap on my orange right here, or an inch and I think it just end at maybe an inch, like that. So if I were to push this, oops, let's try that, let's do it that way. It's about an inch right there, so I'll end on an inch. So if I were to push this in, all that mortar underneath that's left right here is taking me, so I need to go from about here to there and draw a straight line with that. Okay. Like that. So now, where I am left is, so I gotta make sure this is an inch. So that's not done yet. So that's an inch right there, and an inch right there. So technically, I hope I'm thinking about this correctly, if I were to take this, if I were to go right there and line this edge up, technically, if I trace this out and cut it, it should match that stone. So let's give it a shot. Let's go like this so we can keep this curve going, because this, yeah, I need to be able to keep that curve. So let's do this and come way back here. I'm gonna line this up, and then we are going, where'd I put my pencil? There it is. I'm gonna line this up, and I'm going to and then it probably goes like that. So, in theory, and this is purely a theory, that should match that. So let's give that a try. So we are going to cut this with another grinder wheel, and we'll see how this goes. Alright, so I've got my 7-inch diamond blade on my grinder with no guard, because I hate trying to cut with a guard. It's not the smartest idea sometimes, but it's fast and it's functional. So here we go. Okay, so while that spins down, what we've got, we have a dry cut, which means it's not nearly as nice as that, but because it's up against the rock, it doesn't have to be as perfect, because we're going to be filling this gap right here with a little bit of white grout or something to match this. So I'm going to try to figure out, I'm probably going to soak this here. It might give me a little bit better cut. Let's see if I can get that to work. All right. All right, there's the first piece off. That one's got to be a little bit more. All right. So, let's see how that method worked. I'm going to need to take a little bit out right here, right where it's hitting that spot, and we're raised on the bottom. So if I take a little bit out between here, I want to take that out, and then I want to come back out like that, because I got quite the gap back here, so this is going to have to, let's see, I got my good gap right there, good one on this end, so I'm just going to take that out and take a little bit at a time. Now, I do have that big mortar lip down at the bottom. Let's see how this fits in there now. Ooh, we are getting closer. We are getting closer and closer and closer. Look at that. That almost looks pretty good. Almost looks like it fits. I need to take a little bit more out right there. You can see where it's hitting. Right there needs to come off. And then this, probably need to take this section out right there. Now this is the plastic from the original pour. Let's pull that out. It's getting in the way. Yeah, so if I pull that out right there, and that out right there, this thing should go right on in there. Almost too much right there now. But I'm gonna go with this. Let's see, what's my gap? What's my overlap? If I took a little bit more out there, so I'm right at 1.25 inches, and 1.25 inches. That's what I want. That just changed everything. Now I gotta take a little bit of this out right there. I'm gonna take that out. And once that comes out, then we should be good. Maybe we should be good. Now let's see what happens. That looks pretty good here. It's not as close as I wanted it to be back here, but that's okay, we can work with that. It's about my inch. And that's about my 1.25 inches. This is kind of what we wanted. I think I'm going to call that done right there. Now to figure this out. So here's my theory. If I take this piece and I put it here, and then I cut that angle, and where did my pencil go? Ah, sitting right on top of it. So if I put this on there like so, and I cut this cut right there, in theory, that should work. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh please, let this have worked. Okay, so we are going to put this one in place, because that's the hard one to get in there. And then, fingers crossed, let's see what happens here. That one goes in with a rock underneath it, and that one goes there. We have quite the gap now over here. But if we were to fill that in the end, if we were to fill that with the end with some mortar, I'm thinking it would be pretty good. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna go with that just because that was an awful hard thing to cut. So there you go, folks. I'm gonna leave that. And when you're looking at it from way back here, you're not really gonna be able to see much, especially when we fill that with that white or that cream colored grout through there. It's gonna be great. So there we go. We are looking pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm liking it. What do y'all think? Throw some comments down. Let us know what you think. Be kind. Remember, I'm saving about $50,000 by doing this all myself. That was the estimation we got, based on everything that we put together and all the materials that we bought and what would have been the markup on those materials, as well as delivery of those materials and all the labor that we've done so far. We're probably in it for probably about 10 grand already just in labor, and we really haven't done much. So here we go. There we go, folks. All right, to be continued. See you later.